Fight of the Gastelum, and performance of the night went to Font in Israel. They all won $50,000. The attendance tonight was 19,032, sold out, highest grossing event in the arena history. The gate was 11.9 million, sixth highest grossing event in UFC history. And there's a new sheriff in town, ladies and gentlemen. It beat MSG's last gate. Miami beat Madison Square Garden. Last gate there was 11.5, and it was the same fight. So, unbelievable. When you think that last time we came here, we did a gate of 446,000, and now we just beat Madison Square Garden. So, I've been saying this all week. Miami is like, Miami reminds me of LA 10 years ago. This place is booming. I'm sure you felt it when you're, well, I'm sure a lot of you are from here, but those of you that aren't, I mean, every restaurant is packed till midnight, 1 in the morning, people out in the streets. It's just like, this place is as cool and as hot and as incredible as ever. It was a really, I'm glad we came here. It was a cool experience. John Morgan.
I was going to say, so when you said at the press conference, hey, we'll be coming back, I mean, do you think this is like an annual type destination for you now?
Yeah, we're in. We're coming to Miami. This place is such a different place than the last time I was here. Obviously, I'm assuming a lot of this was built up, during COVID and, all the stuff that went on here. It's just this place is at a whole nother level. It's incredible.
A lot to talk about with the featured fights, but I just want to ask you real quick about Chase Sherman. Do you have an update on his condition or exactly what happened there?
No.
No? Okay. Fair enough.
He got sick. He was, sapping a couple times, and I think he ate something bad is from what I heard. Don't quote me, though, because I don't know for sure.
Right. Fair enough. Obviously, amazing result in the main event. Israel Adesanya champion again. Thrilling second round, especially. I mean, just tension. I guess talk about the fight overall, what you thought in that win.
Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute war. Israel Adesanya, I was saying this coming into this fight. I mean, this guy never turns down a fight. When it came time to fight Pereira, he was ready. Let's do it. I want to fight 3 times. I only want to fight the best. He lost. He was ready for an immediate rematch. I mean, this kid is and people were asking, in interviews leading up to this fight, do you think he's messed up mentally and do you think he's in his head? And I did not think that because listen, a lot of these guys, a lot of shit is talked in public. Like, oh, I want this fight. And then behind the scenes, it's a whole nother ball game. Israel Adesanya is not that guy. Israel Adesanya will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, and the guy likes to fight 3 times a year, even though he has the belt. A lot of these guys get the belt and start making that really big money. I'll fight 2 times, then it goes down to 1 time, and you know how it goes. You've seen it, but not this kid. He's special. He's different.
Emphatic victory tonight. What do you think? I mean, a great rivalry between these two, right? It was a great storyline. Is there unfinished business now? Like, do they need to do it again to settle the UFC trilogy, or what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think that Pereira probably moves to 205 after this fight. He's a monster, I know that he still had like 2 pounds to cut leading up to, there was like an hour left of the weigh-in, so, and, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's moving to 205, but I would assume he is. You guys can ask him himself, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Co-main event, Gilbert Burns came into enemy territory, got an impressive win. He was here just before you and says, hey, I want to be the backup for the next title shot. In fact, he didn't say I want. He said I demand. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. Normally you like attitudes like that.
I love that.
Do you put him in that position?
Yeah, I love that. Why not? Deal. You got a deal.
Gilbert got it done. And then I guess last thing, I want to ask you about Kevin Holland. I saw that he was talking to you. I mean, no surprise, he's talking to you during the fight, after the fight. But it just seemed like a weird week all around. That kind of didn't want us talking to him about other fights. I guess what happened with Kevin Holland? What happened to him?
Well, the reason I didn't want you guys talking to him about other fights is, guys, we're fucking 2 days before a fight. He's not fighting Jorge Masvidal. Whatever they got into, first of all, it creates shit backstage and at the hotels, right? When you guys ask them questions like that and they say something, we still got 2 days until the fight, and these guys run into each other backstage and everywhere else, and it's so disrespectful to their opponent. There's an opponent sitting up there that they're going to fight. And I just hate that shit. I get it. You want your fucking clicks or whatever it is you guys want to get, your little fucking moment that you can post, but I will fucking attack you if you do that. You know what I mean? It just causes a lot of bullshit backstage and at the hotel. And But it's like the time the stuff went down with Diaz and all those guys, and Hamzat. These guys have fucking 20, 30 guys backstage, and just that shit just can't happen here, and you guys can't instigate it.
What was he saying to you tonight?
Crazy shit. I mean, I don't know what he was saying. He was yelling at me, and I don't even know what he was saying. It was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Trump looked at me and said, "What's he talking about?" I said, "I don't know. Is he talking to me or talking to you?" And I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, he's had a crazy week. He's been acting a little crazy this week.
Data, going back to Israel, you mentioned that he's kind of special, right? And he wants to fight as often as he can, but you've dealt with a lot of guys who are different mentally in the history of this sport, right? You've got people like Conor and all these who are kind of like artists. But in terms of mental strength, to be able to fight a guy who's beaten you 3 times, do you think Israel might be on another level of just self-confidence?
Yeah, I just think, you meet some of these guys that are literally true fighters. They're fighters, and that's what he is. This kid loves to fight. He loves to prove himself. He loves to challenge himself. And he's a very unique guy. Very unique.
Yeah, I mean, even knowing already the celebration he was going to do, like, seconds after he knocked it out, like, having that stuff already pre-planned.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys should really... Has he been in here yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys should really dig into that one. I mean, how mentally strong this kid is. And like you said, like he believes in himself so much, and he's willing to test himself against a guy who's beat him 3 times, you know what I mean? And he comes out tonight and knocks him out viciously. Yeah. It's just pretty awesome.
Jorge Masvidal appears to be done with the sport. Obviously, that's his decision. And whenever you hear a guy talking like that, it usually means the end is near. But he's also a fun guy like Nate was, where you can put him in big fights and he'll make big money for himself. Would you like to see him walk away, or would you be happy to see him stick around?
Yeah, no, listen, as soon as you think about retiring, you should in this business. And he's made a lot of money. He made a lot of money tonight. And, he's got things outside the octagon going on too, like Conor does, and some of these other guys. And I think he's proved everything he needed to prove to himself, and he's changed his family's life. And why not?
Is he an example for younger fighters that are like, hey, your career might be going one way, but if you have one good year or the right fight at the right time, if you take it, you can change your entire career?
Well, that flying knee changed his life. You know what I mean? When he threw that flying knee, it changed his whole life. And yeah.
Last one from me. I've always been curious about this. Donald Trump was here watching the fights with you. What sort of fight fan is he? Is he like a guy who wants to see a brawl? Does he want to see a technical back and forth? Like, what was he sitting there saying to you?
So this guy calls me twice a month and will talk to me for an hour about fights that have happened, since the last time we talked. And he knows everybody. He knows, what they did and who they fought last. And he's a huge fight fan. Loves this stuff.
Who's his favorite fighter?
3 guesses.
Conor.
Huh?
Conor?
Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal.
Should have probably guessed that.
Yeah. Masvidal and Covington.
Dana, what would you like to see Raul Rosas go from here? I know he had a lot of hype, and then he kind of ran into Christian Rodriguez. It just looks like a grown man fighting someone that might have been 19.
Yeah, it happens. He's a young kid. I had that 2 rounds to 1, and he's got a lot of growing to do. He's got a lot of work to do. People love him. This isn't as damaging to him as nobody really goes undefeated in this sport. It's very, very hard to do. But he's just got to get back in there, get back on the horse, and keep going.
Bilal Muhammad was in here too, and he said he would actually be interested in fighting Kamaru Usman next if he doesn't get a title shot or a backup shot or anything. I know you said you were interested in booking him against Shavkat in London. Is that still the plan with Bilal?
To do what with him?
In London, you said you were looking at Bilal versus Shavkat. Bilal was in there saying he'd actually be interested in fighting Kamaru because he's the only one ranked higher than him in the rankings.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah, the other fight is the fight that we wanted to do.
He also said that he actually asked to be the backup in London, and it ended up being Colby Covington. Was that true?
I don't know. But if he said it, then yeah, it's true. Yeah. He's a nice guy. He's not lying.
You see his shirt out here?
His what?
His shirt?
No. What
It was Colby Covington with a broken jaw.
oh, really?
Dan,
It's been crazy around here lately.
your Africa dream is back now with Izzy becoming a champion. How is that coming along? Because I did speak to some people in Africa the last time we spoke, and they are building a facility in Nigeria.
It's huge. That's what we need. We need some real infrastructure over there to go over there and pull off, a fight like tonight. But yeah, I mean, I've made it very clear that I'm focused on that. We're building the PI right down in Mexico right now. So once that gets done, we'll start looking. Lawrence, when will we start looking in Africa?
Well, we're looking at Dakar, Senegal, which has a new arena. I'm thinking about that.
There you go.
Yeah, the Dakar Arena.
He's the guy who sends people out to start looking. He's the guy that found the place in Mexico, and he's the guy that will find a place in Africa for us.
Yeah, the Dakar Arena is like 12,000. It's hosted a bunch of events in the past, so yeah.
Perfect.
Kevin Holland. At this point, don't you have to upgrade security? First, Hamzat, now Masvidal.
We have.
I mean, like,
Nobody got in a fight, did they? Till you guys started trying to start shit and get stuff going, right? I mean, nothing happened. A lot of yelling at each other and stuff like that. But the thing is, you got to understand, these guys are grown men. So when Holland left the press conference that day, I told the security guys I want more security on him. And they told him when he got off the stage, you know what he did? He ran out the back and left by himself because he doesn't want security. These are grown men, and we can do as much as we can do. Yeah.
last one from me. Africa has had 3 champions in the past. Now we have one back. What's the next thing for Kamaru Usman? I know he probably has to work his way back to the top again. What's like the next thing you might have for him?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know yet for Kamaru, but we'll get him figured out soon.
Dana back here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Dana over here.
Yep.
Oh, how you doing? Congratulations on another great night.
Thank
so,
you.
with the success of the Miami card and New York card, do you look at your people? Do you talk at your people? Say, hey, we got to open up our calendar a little bit more and come back to Miami more, come back to the New York market more. Like, what's this an indication of?
Well, I don't think I need to tell anybody at the office that we need to come back to Miami. I think everybody, first of all, it's just such a great place to come. I'm sure those of you that came in town this week had a blast like I did. And, like I say, 10 years ago, L.A. was the greatest city in the world. And I look at Miami now like L.A. was. This place is booming, man. This is a really cool city. Tons of great restaurants, hotels, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, when I opened this thing, there's a new sheriff in town now, man. I mean, this thing was looking like it was going to be right behind MSG in Vegas. It beat MSG. So we definitely made the right decision. And now we'll figure out when to bring it down here again.
Cool. One more question. So I actually wanted to talk about the Endeavor deal with the WWE. Anytime you can get Vince McMahon and Dana White on the same depth card, that's 1992 Dream Team type stuff. So what's your thoughts about the deal, and what are your thoughts about WWE and UFC congraining this sports and entertainment conglomerate?
Yeah, I like the deal. I'm very supportive of it. I knew that they were working on it a long time ago. And Ari's super respectful like that. Ari wanted to make sure that everybody was good with this before we move forward with it. And I think that Ari is going to bring a lot of value. That doesn't change anything around here. There's we had Brock come over here. We had Ronda go over there. That's all. If that's ever possible, if guys leave here and they love wrestling and they're good enough to do it, before this deal, we would have been good with that. But what's going to happen now is Ari's going to add a ton of value to WWE, whether it's sponsorship, licensing, and a lot of other things that he can do when he touches the business. And these two, the UFC and WWE, will become their own stock. We'll have our own they're talking about, I don't know how much I can talk about this. I should shut the fuck up, actually. Yeah, my lawyer is shaking his head, yes. Yeah, we're really happy about this deal, and we're looking forward to it.
One more, actually. With Donald Trump in audience, obviously, when you first bought the UFC, Zuffa, when you got the provisionary license in New Jersey, Trump Plaza, he hosted you guys. Now, all these years later, you see it, and now it's a huge conglomerate worldwide. Like, how cool is it that your friend who, was helping you at the beginning, now is a part of it, and now is watching it as it's grown to a mega sport?
Yeah, I say it all the time. I mean, when we did that first deal at the Trump Taj Mahal, you got to remember, and it's hard for a lot of you to even think about this because of where the brand was at that time and what it meant. But he saw it, he got it, he cut us that deal at the Taj when we went there, got there for the first fight of the night, and stayed there till the last fight. And he did it both times that we were there. And tonight, he got here tonight at 7:30. He's here at 7:30, and he stayed till the last fight and then left. He loves the sport. He loves the fights. And like I said many times, he's been an incredible friend to me.
Thank you very much, Dana.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana. Joe Pyfer, he didn't get the bonus, but he's been nothing short of spectacular. Great Contender Series and his 2 fights, spectacular finishes. What are your thoughts on his performance and where we go from here?
And he spectacularly beat a real guy tonight. I mean, that was a great performance. He didn't win, but, I'll take care of him. And who was the other kid that we were going to I brought him in the back, and we're going to take care of him too. Yeah.
How important was this victory for Calvin Gastelum? Because he had that injury, he lost that fight, he had to come back to this. How important was this for his career? Yeah,
he's a dog, and he fought tonight like the old Calvin. You saw him go in there and go to war. And, he comes back, he wins fight of the night. It was a big night for him.
Not to be overlooked, when Donald Trump came out, you had Kid Rock. I don't know who planned the choreography, but you had the music going on, him next to him. Who synced that up? Because that was perfect.
There was no choreography. I mean, it just, we were all back there together. I'm good friends with Kid Rock, too. So we were all back there. We're all friends, me, him, and Trump. And we walked out, and the DJ played American Badass, it wasn't. There was no choreography whatsoever. The show was about to start, and we walked.
Well played.
Thank you.
Dana?
Yep.
Welcome back to Miami.
Thank you.
I was one of the few there way back when for that show, and just to see tonight, it was amazing.
Thank you,
crowd,
sir.
Electricity. I'm just curious, what do you think over those 20 years has helped grow MMA and make it so big here? Because it was dead back then.
Well, 2 things. Well, it wasn't dead. That was we were just growing the sport and the brand at the time, but Miami isn't the same place it was when I came back then either. Like I say, this is a completely different city. This is one of the most powerful cities in America now. It was not what it is today. Like I keep referencing L.A. because when you think of L.A. 10 years ago, it was probably one of the, if not the coolest city in the country. Not so much today. Miami is on a whole nother level, man. This place has boomed. So if you look at the growth of the UFC, the growth of Miami, it was the right time to come here, and we were right. We had other options, and we looked at other options, and we pulled the trigger on Miami, and we're all very happy that we did now.
And with that said, you were here in Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale a few years ago.
Yep.
And that show did fairly well.
No, they were very good for us too.
Yeah. So did that help too in making the decision, or not really?
If you look at what we've done in Florida since 2020, and again going through COVID, we had Florida and we had Abu Dhabi. So, we've been bouncing around here and doing well because of what the mayor did for us. Up in Jacksonville. Yeah, we're going back again. That's our last. Thank you, sir. We appreciate everything you've done for us, and we're going to go back there and give them another event. Florida was very good to us, and tonight was amazing.
And then lastly for me, I know you don't want to talk a lot about
and
it.
I can't not talk about, not say something about your governor, too. Another guy who was incredible to us through, COVID and everything else, and who also takes a lot of credit for how kick-ass this state is right now, too.
American Top Team, Kill Cliff FC, even Masters MMA Miami. How has that helped, too, in the growth of this area for MMA.
Again, credit to Dan Lambert, a guy who has spent his own money to not only take care of fighters, but create world champions and essentially help build the UFC and the sport.
And lastly, for me, I know you don't want to talk a lot about it, but UFC, WWE still will be two separate companies doing their own thing and not merging per se or anything like that.
Right. No. It's they're going to do what they do. We're going to do what we do. The parent company and Ari will help them in a lot of ways that they know they can help them. Some of the things, as much ass as WWE is kicking, there's a lot of things in that business that can be tweaked and can make a big difference. Not to mention the fact that their rights deal is up. So their television rights are up. And when your television rights are up, there's nobody better than Ari Emanuel.
Dana, just straight ahead here.
Yeah.
Who are the transports to the hospital tonight?
Did what?
The transports to the hospital?
None.
No transports. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's been a few reports that UFC are coming back to London in July. Can you confirm that? Well, I'm guessing that's a yes. Will it be a fight night or a pay-per-view?
I'm working on it, and I want it to be a pay-per-view.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it'll be Kobe Leon if that is the pay-per-view.
When I talk about Florida, let's talk about London now. London has been incredible to us, man. It's been amazing. The fans over there are amazing. We're supposed to have a fight night in July. I want it to be a pay-per-view. So there's a lot of internal shit that needs to be worked out, and I'm working on it.
So thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, sir.
Rob Font just knocked out Adrian Janis after a year layoff, and he asked for Davison Figueiredo when Davison makes his 135 debut. What do you think of that fight?
Yeah, I mean, the big win tonight for Rob Font, man. That was huge, impressive. The fight was a war, and yeah, tonight was a big night for him, man. I don't know if that's the answer to your question, but big night for him. I mean, huge.
With Endeavor buying WWE, WWE is having an event in Puerto Rico May 5th, SmackDown, and then they're having the pay-per-view on May 6th with Bad Bunny as an associate. Those two events in the 17,000 Puerto Rico Coliseum got sold out in a week. Perhaps UFC may consider finally coming back to Puerto Rico.
I'm all about Puerto Rico. I've talked about Puerto Rico a lot when I talk about building PIs. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no, yeah.
And what about that PI?
We're doing Mexico right now. We got to get that one. But PIs aren't cheap. They're expensive to build, man. We're working on Mexico now, and then we'll get our shit together and figure out what's next. Because we're talking about opening one in Abu Dhabi. I want one in Puerto Rico, and I would love to have one in Africa, too.
Thanks.
Yep. It's going to take time, though.
Here, is there an update on John Jones?
As far as what?
Like, what's next for him when he...
John Jones came out, made quick work, and poof, disappeared, man. He went back to whatever he's doing. He's ready to fight. He wants Stipe, so we'll get it figured out.
And that's definitely the fight Stipe is next?
That's the one he wants. Yeah.
And just a couple quick ones with Masvidal retiring. He's not entirely retiring from combat sports in the sense that he is doing his own thing as a promoter with Gimbrid Boxing. Just curious, what do you think of the bringing MMA guys into boxing? What do you think of the show, the promotion?
I actually watched the fight. It was I liked the undercard. Thought the undercard had good fights. The other thing that I was impressed by with them is that they actually had good production. When you watch a small show like that, right? One thing that you have to understand whether the production's good or not is how fast the replay comes. They were right on top of the replays. The replays came out fast. They did a damn good job with the production. I was impressed with it. The thing that I don't like is 50-year-olds fighting. It's just not my thing, man. So the co-main and the main, but the rest of the card was fun. I mean, Jose Aldo and Jeremy Stevens was an awesome fight. And then the boxing fights, the kid that was undefeated, I think he was Puerto Rican, actually, right? Yeah. That kid that he fought didn't just show up for a paycheck. That kid showed up to win. It was a great fight. I liked that fight too. And yeah, I had fun watching the card. I was home Saturday night, didn't do anything, and I watched it.
Nice. And I know you a while ago you spoke about having some interest in maybe going down the boxing route. Is that still up in there or no? What does that smile mean?
We'll see.
Okay.
Hey Dana,
Yep.
it seemed like all the answers for Rosas in the first round, and then he had a bunch of questions in rounds 2 and 3.
Who's this?
Rosas.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about his performance? and
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
the problems he encountered.
they were tight. This kid was obviously, there's this thing with 18-year-old strength and 25-year-old man strength, and the other kid was a really good grappler. So, like I said, this kid has a ton of room to grow. Tonight was a good experience for him, and that's what this sport's all about. And he was 7-0, but it's very, very hard to go undefeated, and especially when you come into the UFC. And as young as this kid is, just if he was right in there. I had it 2-1, and yeah, he'll get better.
Okay.
He'll get better.
Thanks, Dana.
Yep.
Hey, Dana.
Yep.
Here, please. If Poatan decides to stay in the middleweight, will he have the trilogy? Yeah, Poatan.
Well, I was saying to him earlier, I would bet anything he moves to 205 after this fight.
Yeah, but you approve the trilogy. Like, if he wants to stay in the middleweight, it's like to.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what he decides after that. I mean, the fight just happened 30 minutes ago. I don't know. We'll see.
Dana over here.
Dana,
Yep.
you've mentioned the PI in Mexico several times during the press conference. Do you have a window when it's going to open?
Lawrence, when's the PI opening in Mexico?
September this year. And I know you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that unfortunately Mexico isn't in the plans for 2023. What is the reason for this? It's been 4 years since the last visit for the UFC to Mexico. Is this like an issue with the arena, maybe the promoters down there? Why is the UFC not going to Mexico this 2023?
Got it. As the world starts to open up now, there's a lot of other places that we got to go. But you're not wrong. I mean, for the first time ever, we got 3 champions. Why did we not do a Cinco de Mayo fight? Why did we not do this? Why? We're fucking it up. That's why. We're fucking it up. We're trying to fix it.
And lastly,
we're making a lot of mistakes right now, and I know we are, and we'll get our shit together. I promise you.
And lastly, can we confirm that Yair Rodriguez is fighting Alexander Volkanovski in International Fight Week?
I cannot confirm that, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Hey, Dana. Hey, Dana, right here.
Hey.
Quick question. You're talking about all these other places. How about Canada, Toronto, Montreal?
We're going to Vancouver.
Awesome. Any timelines for that, or?
Yeah, we're going. Huh? Yeah, June.
June? Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Dana over
Yep.
here.
Where have you been? We announced that 2 days ago. Are you Canadian?
Dana over here. A few events over the past few years with WWE and the UFC have combined on both days, and I think this is the same event with 288 and Backlash. Are you guys going to talk with WWE and Ari in regards to making sure that doesn't happen in the future?
Well, I also think that anytime that we ever went on the same night, our fan bases are completely different. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a ton of crossover with the fan base. So it's not like it ever hurt us. Yeah. But maybe we won't. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but I don't think it makes a difference.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If anything, what I've started to notice is when you have, these type of things on the same night, you make more people stay home. And maybe people will watch both or whatever the deal is. Israel's here. You guys done with me? Go ahead. What do you got for me? Okay.
Just one last question, Dana.
Yeah.
About Gilbert Burns.
Yeah.
Besides fighting business, Gilbert, he speaks Spanish, Portuguese, English. He's good with media. His social media is increasing. Do you see himself in the future as one of the biggest stars of the company, maybe one of the face of the sport in the near future?
Well, he's the #1 ranked guy in the world. He has all these things that you say, and he's one of the nicest guys ever. And if a fight, if he has to dog it out, like against Hamzat, like when he goes in there, that guy's willing to go toe-to-toe and do anything. So, yeah, I mean, the way this guy fights and all the other attributes he says he has, yeah, he could be a big star, especially in Brazil. You guys done with me? Go ahead, sir. What do you got?
There's a big boxing fight in a couple weeks, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis. I
Yeah.
want to get your thoughts on the fight. And these two young guys are, going at it. The boxing, we haven't seen two boxers in a while get a big fight like this. Just your thoughts on the fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's very few good boxing fights out there. This is a good one. This should be fun, and that's a fight I would definitely watch.
Who do you think will win the fight?
Huh?
Who do you think will win the fight?
I have no idea. I mean, Gervonta's a bad dude, and Ryan's gonna, he's unproven yet. This is his first real big test. So if he can go in and pull it off, it's a big deal. But I'll be watching, even though De La Hoya is involved with it. Thanks. Have a good night, you guys, and thanks, Miami.